Closely related to that, about a month after federal government's intervention, household and small businesses are still buying cooking gas above 1,100 kilogram for a kilogram of cooking gas. Well, remember that the minister of gas had promised or set up a committee which is supposed, to look into all this. And then there was also the federal government's effort suspending VAT and waivers for related components and other parts that are connected to gas supply in the country. And in spite of this, Nigerians would still tell you that the price of cooking gas has not reduced. As you can see there on the screen, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Mr. Ekpo, had announced that that was in December, and then there was also a committee that was set up. And then there was also that waiver of VAT and duties for gas-related products. In spite of all of this, the country has not enjoyed what the federal government had thought it would. So we wonder what's going on there. Perhaps there's something that we have overlooked. That's why we have in the studio Prince Bambo Ademiniyu. He's the chairman of Nigeria Liquefied Petroleum Gas Association. Happy New Year, sir. Good to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much.
So we thought Christmas would be good, especially when we heard the federal government suspending the VAT and waivers, But in spite of that, even personally, I bought gas, I think, late last week, and I haven't seen any difference. In fact, it's increased.
For how much would you buy?
So I bought the 12.5 kg for 13,000 naira.
Okay.
That's a personal experience.
That's right. Well, I'm happy to be here. I'm chairman of the Auto Gas Committee, although I'm a gas practitioner, and I buy and sell also, because we have a plant. Well, the federal government did very well by removing VAT and import duty on LPG. But that is yet to take effect in the market, in the sense that we're just talking December. Cargoes that came in that I know of in December were mainly cargoes that came from inland. And that was why you had a drop in the price in December, actually. Because pre-December, November, and early December, ex-depot price was about 16 million for the 20 tons bridges. But when these products came in from NLNG, there were actually 4 cargoes in a space of about 5 weeks. The price crashed towards Christmas to 14 million per 20 metric tons ex-depot. And of course, it reflected in the market.
How much did that come to, a 12 kg?
12.5 kg. Before it was about 10,900 to 11,000. And it came to about 10,000 towards Christmas. Ex-plant. Ex-filling plant. But of course, you have the people who buy from the plant and sell. So that gap is what you are experiencing.
So is it the middleman effect that it's covering up the benefits?
I would believe so.
So but it has always, the chain has always been that way. And we haven't had the middleman, impact.
Because you didn't notice.
Okay.
If you go to the plant to buy, you would notice that difference in the price from what you are buying in your neighborhood, where you're just going to give to one man to give you another cylinder. If you take the pains to go to a plant to buy directly from the plant, then you will get that benefit of a lower price.
So how much is a 12.5 kg now? I bought it 13,000.
Today, I'm sure ex-plant, you won't get it for more than 11,000, 11,500. It shouldn't be more than that.
So you're saying that...
Despite the fact that the product NLNG brought in November is being mopped up and be brought in December. And we must give them credit in the sense that there were challenges. The whole of October and November, there were no cargoes from inland, from Bonny. But they, on their own, provided a big mother vessel that took product and then gave to smaller vessels to give to the locals at their own cost. So we must give NLNG that credit for crashing that price in December. Because they did not increase the price they were selling to the depot owners. And the depot owners were actually able to crash their prices by 2 million naira per bridger because of that intervention which NLNG did at no cost to the market.
So are we saying we should look for a way to eliminate the middleman?
Well,
I mean,
I don't know
if that's why.
I don't know if it's easy to eliminate the middleman. It is
because we've always had them.
Yes.
And the prices have always been, when there's high demand or there's problem globally, then we'll see it reflect in the domestic prices.
Yes.
And when there's not, we will also see it drop. You understand? So I don't know why the middlemen will now have to be the
They too are dropping. They are dropping. In December, before mid-December, they were selling at about 13,000. 14,000, but they dropped too. But because there are not enough mini plants, the mini plants, the skid plants that you see all over, add-ons in filling stations, they are all coming up. As we have more of that, you have more access to direct purchase from plants, and you can buy cheaper. But for as long as you live and buy in an area where such plants don't exist, you have to cope with what the middleman who is in your neighborhood will sell to you.
So are we saying we're on the right track now? Because
we are on the right track, at the supply end, because with this duty waiver and the VAT removal, even imports will be cheaper. What we need to do actually is to improve on our supply from locals. NLNG is the only notable supplier from their local production. We have others like them who are not supplying to the local market.
Because it's more profitable to export. Well,
we're buying at the same price. That's why I'm surprised that somehow or the other they have never got around to get to supply the local market. NLNG sells at at the international price, but they have given so much to the local market, which the others are not doing. If they do that, we'll have more local production in, and then we don't have to import. And of course, that means that cost of freight, just coming from Bonny or Warri or from wherever, is cheaper than coming from Europe, where the imports are coming from, Europe or America or wherever. So we need to bring in more product from the inside. The marginal oil fields are coming up, but they can only produce a little compared to what our needs will be. So, especially
now that we have conversion generators and vehicles.
Exactly, and we are hoping to convert even as small as Keke Marua and cars and all that. LPG, even at this price that you're talking about, is still much cheaper than petrol. Petrol is still 600 naira. It is still subsidized. If you remove the subsidy that is hidden today from petrol, we're buying at about 1,000. LPG is less than is about 480, 490 per liter. Still today at this high cost. So if we then convert, because people will find it cheaper than using other fuels like petrol or diesel, then we'll be using so many, we'll be needing so much. And the much we'll need, we might not be able to get it all from locals. So that's the problem we have. So we need to get more local production from those that are producing.
Capital intensive.
The local production. Yeah. Well, there are people already producing. The marginal oil fields need to produce also. That's capital intensive. Government could support that initiative to as many of marginal oil fields as possible. Get them support from funding agencies to give them
because
cheap
when
funds.
You say government, I think government has...
I'm not saying government should give money. Support the initiative.
Support how?
They could guarantee...
I mean, because government has already done the waivers and the duties. I think that's a huge support.
Part of these funds that are being used for CNG development and all that, part of it could go in that direction too. Because at the end of the day, we are getting more CNG. You are getting LPG, butane and propane in the mix.
So you think government should focus more on LPG?
LPG is more accessible than CNG. It's more accessible. It's all over the place. And if we produce more of it, we can use it more. CNG is cheaper than LPG. Fine, true. But you cannot get CNG cheap, despite the fact that it's still more expensive than LPG. You cannot get it cheap in off-grid areas. In the grid areas, you can get it slightly cheaper because you don't need facilities to step down your pressure and all that. But in the off-grid areas, you need a daughter vessel that's a massive thing, costing you about $200,000-$300,000. Nobody is going to buy that and put in his petrol station in Ile-Ife, in my hometown, because it's not going to make that money back. So CNG, yes, it's good, it's cheap, but it's very expensive to deploy. So LPG is a cheaper one to deploy for the locals, but CNG has its own use too, because you could use it more effectively for power generation and bring down the cost of power, now that government has even allowed captive power in communities. In the on-grid areas, CNG is the answer for power generation, for industries that are burning plenty of gas for heating their food stuff and all that. Boilers that are heating.
But for the smaller SMEs,
for the smaller SMEs, and the LPG is the answer.
But I have to tell you, Prince, I know you said we're on the right track. I've spoken to a couple of people who have been discouraged from converting because if the price of LPG keeps going this way, you know.
But it is still cheaper. It's still cheaper than petrol. It's still cheaper than diesel. Much cheaper. Okay.
All right, Chairman of Nigeria Liquefied Petroleum Gas Association, thank you so much for your time.
Autogas Group.
Autogas Group, yeah. Thank you so much, Prince Bambo Ademiliu. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll head to the markets.